Hello and welcome to Benuetv Television News at 9. I am Jude Alaki. The headlines. Chief Medical Director calls on Benuetv people to support Governor Hyacinth Elia's administration. President Bola Tinubu seeks addition to budget. And on the international scene, lawyers in Guinea embark on strike to protest against crackdown on dissent. A few hours to the start of its big project, Chief Medical Director, Benue State University Teaching Hospital, Makudi, Dr. Stephen Hwande, calls on Benuetv people to join hands with Governor Hyacinth Elia's administration to develop the state-owned hospital to international standard. Dr. Hwande's call Wednesday is part of a news briefing on activities that will take place in the two-day international summit and scientific exhibition holding Thursday and Friday at the University Teaching Hospital premises in Makudi, the Benue State capital. Correspondent Emmanuel Matthew Ekulono was there and our reports.
It is said to be the first of its kind that will be taking place at the state-owned health institution. Dr. Hwande, Wednesday, during the briefing, notes Governor Alia's efforts towards bringing transformation to health sector, highlighting the achievements of the hospital since assumption to office.
There are plans to upgrade salary payments for health workers. And when the salaries are upgraded in the area of health, brain drain, Japa syndrome, and migration will be up, and the Benuetv people, even at the primary and secondary health sectors, will be developed. So we are transforming the hospital. If you go around this hospital today, you see any paper anywhere, you know that something is wrong. Go around yourself. Cobwebs and hygiene is restored here. We have employed not less than 600 and being very minimal staff in all cadre in this hospital to beef up what was already existing, because you cannot improve hospital without manpower. I was brought in not less than 10 to 12 professors back into the fold of the teaching hospital to give quality and professional and expertise at the highest level. Neurosurgery is done here now, and the rest of all.
The CMD also calls on Benuetv people to join hands in developing the hospital to international standards as a response to governor's development strides in the state. Dr. Hwande informs the programs of the summit will start on Thursday, July 18, 2024, with scientific exhibition, while on Friday, major events will be unveiling of ultramodern cancer center and launching of 5 billion naira endowment fund.
Now during the summit, we are going to discuss basically attaining one-stop hospital as the first arm, and then the second thing, which is significant, is unveiling our desire to set up an ultra-modern cancer center. We want to begin a process of changing the narrative on cancer management, not just in Benuetv, but in North Central Nigeria. That endowment fund is a 5 billion endowment fund that we're doing on the second day. So two things on that first day, second day, the attaining one-stop hospital. The second one is an endowment for cancer.
The CND discloses that the summit will become an annual event going forward to build on the gains of this year's summit. The Chief Medical Director sees the opportunity to remind Benuetv people to remain supportive to the governor, who has been very committed to the welfare of Benuetv people to the point of ensuring the civil servants who were sacked in 2011 will take back their jobs, and the casual workers who have been in service for many years on temporary appointment will be converted into permanent status. The theme for this year's summit is attaining a one-stop hospital. Matthew Ekulono, Benuetv Television News, Makurdi.
Again, Benue State University Teaching Hospital Makudi has solicited media support to effectively project the scientific exhibition and health summit due to kick off Thursday in Makudi. The Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Stephen Hwande, extended the call through a team of information officers that visited some media stations in Benue State. Some of the team members who visited Benuetv Television, including Sandra Wombo, Godwin Azua, Tefa Kange, and Mrs. Yima, relayed Dr. Hwande's appeal for media partnership even beyond the summit. In response, Management of Benuetv Television Corporation assured the visitors that their request will be conveyed to the Director General, Dr. Patience Achapakyo, who is on official engagement. Dr. Achapakyo has already held talks with the hospital's CMD for effective partnership, and the visit is expected to be a positive response from the medical institution. A health expert has advised people against smoking as it is the leading cause of lung cancer across the world. The advice was made during Benuetv Television's live program Talk Health. Iwange Baja has this report.
World Health Organization statistics show that lung cancer is the second most common cancer globally. According to the organization, lung cancer accounts for about 1 out of 5 malignancies in men and 1 out of 9 in women. Dr. Moses Agua from the Department of Anatomical and Forensic Pathology with the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, who featured on Talk Health, said cancer of the lungs is real and is affecting more people due to genetic, chemical, and biological factors.
Lung cancer is real. It is preventable to a large extent. Only very few cancers have specifically known causes. We talk about mostly risk factors. 10 people are exposed to the same risk factors. Only about 2 or 3 may come down with that cancer. And this is because it is usually a combination of factors ranging from genetic, environmental factors like exposure to chemicals, exposure to radiation, exposure to certain drugs, and then when they combine with your genetic predisposition, then the amount of exposure as well determines.
Dr. Agua said cancer of the lungs cannot be easily detected as it takes between 10 to 30 years to manifest. He, however, said it could be prevented by lifestyle modification.
It's a general perception of the public that, look, we've been smoking, nothing has happened. But again, we've studied cancer, lung cancer in particular, and if you read the books, they say it's staying away from smokers, guarding against your occupational exposure to some of these things we've mentioned. You are on the way to being sure that you will not come down with cancer.
The advice is to avoid smoking and to use nose masks in public places that emit gas and harmful substances, because this will go a long way to help reduce the cases of lung cancer. Iwange Baja, Benuetv Television News, Makadi.
Thank you, Iwange. The coast is now clear for the Income and Expenditure Commission set up by Governor Hyacinth Elia to resume sitting over the income and expenditures of the state from 2015 to 2023. This latest development follows a court process that Wednesday set aside an ex parte order granted to immediate past Governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, in May to stop the commission from sitting. Dosu Duku tells us more.
Early hours of Wednesday, the magistrate court sitting in Makudi delivers ruling on the ex parte order granted to the former governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, on May 29, 2024, forbidding the commission from investigating the income and expenditure of the state during his tenure. Delivering ruling on the matter at the magistrate court, Justice Tetsia Aswa says the law is settled as ex parte order cannot be granted for long and shall abate after 7 days. He went further to quote Order 39, Rule 3, which speaks on the ex parte order of injunction, which should not be allowed to overstay, therefore discharges and vacates the order in line with the application council reference to Order 40, Rule 6A. At the resumed hearing, counsel to the respective respondent makes case for the discharge of the interim order on the ground that it has expired and breached the fundamental right of fair hearing. Reacting to this ruling, Counsel to the respondent, Clement Moore, says the ruling has been based on the wisdom of the court, according to Order 39 of the rules of the court, though it has not tampered with their case.
This was an oral application made by the respondents, order earlier granted by the Honorable Court in compliance with Order 40, Rule 3, Sub Rule 6A, which state that the grant for leave to apply for judicial review shall operate as stay. But in the wisdom of the court felt that the order of interim injunction is not supposed to last indefinitely, and so evoked the provisions of Order 39 of the rules of this court to vacate same. I think it does not in any way affect the substance of our case. We are coming back here on the 22nd of July 2024 to hear the substantive matter. So it has nothing to do with the substantive case.
A member of the commission and lawyer, Tom Uja, commenting on this ruling, says the coast is now clear for them to begin their work.
The business of the court today was to decide on the fate of the interim injunction earlier granted against the Commission of Inquiry. The Honorable Court, in its wisdom, discharged this interim injunction, therefore giving the Commission of Inquiry the right and permission to continue with its business by calling, hearing, and making decisions about the memoranda submitted to it. I'm pretty sure that before the end of the day, certain notices will be sent to certain persons, and the key witness to first appear before us will be determined by the chairman, but you cannot speculate who that witness will be.
In a swift reaction, the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice and Public Order, Fidelis Mnyim, expresses excitement over the ruling of the court, saying the case of the respondent is limited in nature and ambitious. He urges Benuetv people to feel free to come with their memorandum.
Excitement is stemmed from the fact that the Commission of Inquiry was set to do the work for the Benuetv people. And now, if the former governor is having a challenge, or if he has a defense, he would have ordinarily come to appear before them. But yeah, it's his right to file a case. By filing a case, you should not foreclose the door of the commission to do their work. Like argued in court, these lawyers are so much aware that their case is limited in nature, where it's not in totality of the mandate of the Commission for Inquiry.
Substantive hearing of the case has been fixed for 22nd of July 2024. With this development, the income and expenditure is to commence sitting as soon as possible. Dosu Duku, Benuetv Television News, Makurdi.
Benue State Emergency Management Agency Besema has donated life jackets to Buruku local government to address the challenge of flooding for 2024 in Buruku local government area. Benue State government has donated life jackets to the people in that region to avoid loss of lives. Acting Executive Secretary, Benue State Emergency Management Agency Besema, James Yopu, during the donations appealed to the people of Buruku to make judicious use of the jackets to avoid losing their lives while ferrying themselves crossing the river. He recalled that amid threats of further impending flood, the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA) had earlier informed Benue State of the impending flood, and to respond to their alert, Benue SEMA swiftly procured the life jackets to protect lives. A principal media aide to Executive Secretary Benue SEMA, Tefa Anna, conveys the leader's appeals to the people to make judicious use of the jackets to avoid loss of lives. Some commissioners, Chiza Imojime and Omale and Ondowase Kunde, in separate comments acknowledged Governor Alia's efforts aimed at prioritizing the interests of his people, saying Benue SEMA's move was a swiftly response ahead of the impending flood worthy of commendation. other top government officials, civil society organizations, Benuetv staff witnessed the presentation. We'll take a break now. We'll come back with more stories. Do stay.
Benuetv Fashion Show Season 3 is here.
It's that time of the year for fashion designers, entrepreneurs, and fashion enthusiasts to shine.
This year, sale of forms for the competition begins from 15th April to 19th July 2024.
Pick a form at Benuetv Television, located at Special Duties Wing, Government House, Makurdi. Form cost 5,000 naira only.
Stage 1 screening begins on the 6th of July 2024. Great prizes await you.
The first prize, 1 million naira. Second prize, 500,000 naira. And third prize, 300,000 naira. All prizes are inclusive of cash and fashion tools. Also, consolation prizes and gift items.
For sponsorship, partnership and inquiries, please call Benuetv Marketing on 0906 188 9838 or 0703 794 5569.
Benuetv Fashion Show,
embracing fusion fashion.
Welcome. The Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria (BORN) calls on Nigerian government to, as a matter of urgency, provide assistance to broadcast media in the country to enhance their operations. The call came Wednesday during the 79th General Assembly in Benin City, Edo State. Fidelia Zashaundu was there and our reports.
It is the second time Benin City will play host to the 79th General Assembly of Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BORN. Top media practitioners across the country have gathered here to decide the fate of the industry in the nearest future. The two-day event comes under the theme Navigating the Challenges of Broadcasting in Nigeria and is expected to come up with a communique that will be presented to the federal government to address some pressing issues affecting the broadcast industry. Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, represented by the Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Mr. Chris Nekare, responding to the earlier request made by BORN, promises to make everything possible to assist at the state level.
The role of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria is paramount in ensuring that our airways are filled with content that educates, entertains, and empowers our citizens. Through our collective efforts, we have the power to influence public opinion, drive social change, and uphold values of democracy and freedom of expression. In Edo State, we have remained committed to supporting the media. We have promoted free, independent, diverse media landscape, particularly during this critical time in the build-up to the September 21 governorship election.
In a goodwill message, the Director General, Nigeria Broadcasting Commission, NBC, Charles Ebube, promises to strengthen partnership with BORN.
Our common goal is clear. It is to enhance the quality and the reach of broadcasting in Nigeria, upholding the principles of fairness, accuracy, and inclusivity. The NBC is committed to fostering a regulatory environment that not only ensures compliance and accountability, but also encourages innovation and growth within the industry.
Chairman of BORN and Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Comrade Salihu Dembos, represented by Vice Chairman BORN and Group Managing Director, DA Communication, Chief Tony Akioto, describes the present state of BORN as that of a person in an intensive care unit that needs urgent assistance from the government.
Broadcasting is going through perilous times. As we speak, very few stations operate. more than 6 hours a day across the length and breadth of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that's the information available to us in Bonn.
Director General Benuetv Television Corporation, Dr. Patience Achakpakyo, who is also present in the meeting, expresses optimism over the outcome of the communique.
During this 79th General Assembly, the broadcasting organizations in Nigeria is trying to help the stations address the circumstances, and the best way to describe what the stations are going through in Nigeria at the moment is to say that they are in ICU, of which they are needing urgent medical attention from the federal government and even the state to help the stations come back to where they are able to manage.
In attendance are director generals and general managers of different broadcasting organizations of Bonn. It is the second.
Thank you. That report was presented by Iwange Baja. President Bola Tinubu has forwarded to the Senate for consideration and approval the injection of 6.2 trillion naira into the 27.5 trillion naira 2024 budget. The president, in the request through a letter read on the floor of the Senate by its President Godswill Akpabio during plenary on Wednesday, specifically sought for withdrawal of 3.2 trillion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for capital expenditure. The president also sought withdrawal of another 3 trillion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for additional recurrent expenditure for the year ending on December 31st, 2024. According to the letter, Tinubu is seeking an act to amend the Finance Act of 2023 to impose and charge windfall tax on banks and to provide for the administration of the tax and matters related thereto. For expenditures consideration, the Senate had already listed the two requests on its order paper as executive bills for consideration. If the requested 6.2 trillion naira is injected into the 27.5 trillion naira 2024 budget, the budget size will increase to 33.7 trillion naira. The Vice President Kashim Shettima will on Friday spearhead a stakeholder workshop aimed at bolstering Nigeria's position within the African Continental Free Trade Area Digital Trade Protocol. A statement issued by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nkwacha, explained that the initiative aligns with the federal government's ambition to leverage digital trade for economic growth and regional integration. Shedding light on the event, Special Assistant to the President on Information and Communication Technology Policy, Dr. Salihu Dasuki, said the workshop signifies a shared commitment to advancing Nigeria's trade landscape through the power of digital technology and regional integration under the African Continental Free Trade Area. Dasuki stated that the Office of the Vice President aims to identify key opportunities for enhancing Nigeria's digital trade within the African Continental Free Trade Area framework. He disclosed that there will be discussions on effective strategies for leveraging digital technologies to drive economic growth and support livelihoods. He added that the workshop also fits into the government's broader Renewed Hope strategy, which focuses on rejuvenating Nigeria's economy and creating sustainable development. The National Working Committee (NWC) of the All Progressives Congress (APC) has replaced the Senate's Chief Whip Ali Ndume with Mohammed Mongonu. This was contained in a letter addressed to the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. The letter from the APC was signed by National Chairman Umar Ganduje and the National Secretary Sarujin Basiru to Akpabio. The party said that Ndume's complaints about President Bola Tinubu are unbecoming and his utterances are not favorable to the federal government. The request was put to voice votes by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and loudly affirmed by all the APC senators. Let's now join Lois Yu Chum for business today. Over to you, Lois.
International Monetary Fund downgrades growth rate in sub-Saharan Africa. Toyota Nigeria Limited to support federal government's campaign for use of compressed natural gas-powered vehicles. African plans to recognize contribution of financial technology firms to financial inclusion. Hello and welcome to Business Today. I am Lois Yotiong. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) has downgraded the growth rate in sub-Saharan Africa to 3.7% in 2024. This was indicated in the latest World Economic Outlook update. The IMF said the downward review of the growth outlook was on the heels of the weaker than expected growth in Nigeria. Recall that in its April outlook, the IMF projected economic growth to rise to 3.8% in 2024 from 3.4% last year. On the global stage, the growth was projected to be in line with the April 2024 World Economic Outlook forecast at 3.2% in 2024 and 3.3% in 2023. On the trade front, IMF said a recovery was in sight as world trade growth is expected to recover to about 3.25% annually in 2024 to 2025 from quasi stagnation in 2023 and align with global GDP growth again. It noted that global inflation would continue to decline, adding that in advanced economies, the reverse forecast was for the pace of disinflation to slow in 2024 and 2025. According to the latest National Bureau of Statistics data, Nigeria's inflation has increased to 34.19% in June from 33.95% in the prior month. Managing Director of Toyota Nigeria Limited (TNL), Kunle Adeojo, said the company would be lending its big network of workshops to support the federal government's campaign for the use of compressed natural gas-powered CNG vehicles through conversion. Adeojo stated this during Toyota Motor Show organized by the TNL in Lagos. Toyota Nigeria Limited launched 2 new models of Toyota, Delta and Rumion, into the nation's market at the show. Adeojo stated that plans are on to unveil 3 new electric vehicles into the countries in the next 3 years as part of its plans to support the government's Green Tea initiative. The TNL MD recalled that Nigeria sold about 10,000 new vehicles last year, with Toyota recording about 1,500 units. He said that about 15,000 new vehicles were projected to be sold in Nigeria this year, adding that Toyota was on course to double its last year's performance. The unwavering Toyota Beta and Rumion was one of the highlights of the maiden edition of the exclusive Toyota Motor Show. African brands dedicated to promoting and supporting brands growth across the continent will be recognizing the contribution of financial technology firms to financial inclusion in the continent at the 5th edition of the African Financial Technology Congress. The event, with the theme Harnessing the Power of FinTech to Accelerate Financial Inclusion in Emerging Markets, is scheduled to be held on July 31, 2024 in Lagos. Organizers of the event in a statement noted that the African fintech space had recorded growth over the past decade, saying 3 were recently 1,400 active fintech brands across the continent. According to African brands, the Congress will bring together senior representatives from banks, governments, investors, card providers, payment services platforms, blockchain executives and solutions providers to brainstorm solutions to the industry's key challenges and opportunities. It added that the summit would further an award ceremony to honor outstanding fintech brands that had exceptionally done well by way of their deliverables. That's it on Business Today. Many thanks for watching. I am Lois Yotiong. Do stay tuned for the rest of the bulletin.
Thank you, Lois. And now sports. The 2024-2025 Nigeria Premier League Football League and NPFL season is poised for an exhilarating start following the eagerly awaited draws in Abuja. The defending champions Enugu Rangers will clash with El Kanemi Warriors in the season opener on August 31 in Enugu, setting the stage for an electrifying campaign. In a strategic decision, club owners have adopted a straight league format, promising a season full of excitement and unpredictability. The match between Rangers and El Kanemi Warriors will be the sole fixture on August 31, with the remaining match day 1 games slated for September 7 and 8. Among these, the pride of Benuetv Lobby Stars will host Aqua United at a venue yet to be determined. In another significant development, the NPFL has announced a substantial increase in the prize money for the upcoming season. The league champion will now receive 200 million naira, a notable rise from the 150 million naira awarded to Rangers International for their 2023-2024 triumph. This announcement was made by NPFL chairman Benga Elegbele during the NPFL annual general meeting in Abuja on Tuesday. That's all for sports. We'll take a break now. When we come back, international news is next.
Benuetv Fashion Show Season 3 is here.
It's that time of the year for fashion designers, entrepreneurs, and fashion enthusiasts to shine.
This year, sale of forms for the competition begins from 15th April to 19th July 2024.
Pick a form at Benuetv Television, located at Special Duties Wing, Government House, Makurdi. Form costs 5,000 naira only.
Stage 1 screening begins on the 6th of July 2024. Great prizes await you.
The first prize, 1 million naira. Second prize, 500,000 naira. And third prize, 300,000 naira. All prizes are inclusive of cash and fashion tools. Also, consolation prizes and gift items.
For sponsorship, partnership and inquiries, please call Benuetv TV Marketing on 0906 188 9838 or 0703 794 5569.
Benuetv Fashion Show,
embracing fusion fashion. Benuetv Fashion Show Season 3 is here.
It's
You're still watching Benuetv Television News at 9. And our 4 stories on the international scene. Lawyers in Guinea have gone on strike to protest against a crackdown on dissent by the military regime. Guinea's Bar Association denounced what it described as arbitrary arrest and the secret dissension of citizens, saying lawyers would boycott court sessions until 31 July 2024. Court activities are said to be paralyzed by the strike, which could disrupt a landmark trial over a 2009 massacre that is regarded as one of the darkest moments in the West African nation's history. A court is due to hand down its verdict on the country's former military ruler, Moussa Camara, over alleged crimes against humanity in relation to the 2009 killing of more than 150 people in a stadium. Authorities insist the trial will proceed, but it is unclear if the verdict will be read on that date because of the strike. The strike follows arrest of the leaders of a citizens' movement, Omar Salah and Mamadou Ba, that has been critical of the junta-led government and calling for a return to civilian rule. A rights group, Amnesty International, has called on the government to immediately release Salah and Ba. For months, the Guinean authorities have been allegedly cracking down on peaceful dissent, including attempts to mobilize people towards a return to democratic rule. The junta has been criticized for suspending media outlets, restricting internet access, and brutally repressing demonstrations. They all denied the allegations against them. Iran has dismissed reports that it has been plotting to assassinate former United States President Donald Trump. A foreign ministry spokesman Nassar Kanani on Wednesday stated that Iran rejects what it called malicious allegations that it has plotted an attack on the Republican presidential hopeful. However, Kanani asserted that Iran aims to prosecute Trump for ordering the assassination of commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps IRGC Qasem Soleimani in 2020. U.S. authorities have long been on alert over potential Iranian retaliation for the killing of Soleimani. Tehran has promised what it called a harsh revenge. It is feared that targets could include former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and former National Security Advisors John Bolton and Robert O'Brien, all of whom kept security details after leaving government. A National Security Council spokesman, Adrian Watson, issued a statement confirming that intelligence regarding an Iranian threat to Trump is a national and homeland security matter of the highest priority. She also confirmed that the investigation into the attack in Pennsylvania has not identified ties between the shooter and any accomplice or co-conspirator, foreign or domestic. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said agencies were constantly receiving new potential threat information and taking action to adjust resources as needed. The report about Iran comes as the U.S. Secret Service faces intense scrutiny over the Butler County shooting, with questions over how a gunman was able to open fire at Trump from an exposed rooftop some 150 meters away. A Human Rights Watch HRW has said Hamas and other Palestinian armed groups committed numerous crimes against humanity, including summary killings and sexual violence during their attacks on Israel on October 7, 2023. According to a report released on Wednesday, the surprise attack on Israel was aimed at killing civilians and taking the maximum number of captives. Hamas has slammed the publication, saying it is full of what it described as lies and blatant bias. Based on interviews with 144 witnesses and extensive photo and video documentation, the report said Hamas military wing, the Qassam brigades, and at least 4 other Palestinian armed groups identified as taking part in the attacks committed numerous war crimes and crimes against humanity against civilians. The attacks on Israel killed 1,139 people and about 250 were captured. Israel's military believes 116 of the captives are still in Gaza, but at least 42 may have died. In response, Israel launched a war in Gaza that has killed at least 38,794 Palestinians and wounded 89,364, according to the enclave's Ministry of Health. The International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor has asked for arrest warrants against Hamas leaders, including political chief Ismail Haniyeh and Gaza leader Yahya Sinwar, for war crimes and crimes against humanity. The prosecutor has also sought warrants against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant on charges of crimes against humanity, ranging from starvation of civilians to murder. And that wraps up the news for this morning. We'll take the top stories just before we go. A chief medical director has called on Benuetv people to support Governor Hyacinth Alia's administration. President Bola Tinubu has sought addition to budget. And on the international scene, lawyers in Guinea have embarked on strike to protest against crackdown on dissent. Many thanks for your attention. My name is Jude Alaki. Have a great day.
Sona cheti amti sabavane bawe asava safen tashan ubeno television makudi etianti hiavana kwa shimo wanune bemdo wazwa muhan mamgo washimo vane bawe asava saken toti templeje etianti ya kaya shunjena sidwa biawe makan hanje higia hingi wanje ateji ovesena kure higia na hanje mayangje ahun bana gom na kwenta ubeno kenju makera samo tom ya to gumotu kwenta obono hikensha hamno high sentio mem alia ya mekenji ukan hanje ateji ayange high sentio mem alia utovum mshitom ma nye unyale man vi unyale kanyu me dubuwa ma pokota tsanza kanyu me kun dubuwa ma kinukota kan kwenta obonola ikana hanje shai ateji la to vie mana etom shakwane mana nyima akpa agbe hene to mbraba ti kene teji ne shachoki omotu kwenta obono ma Samuel otomya unshun u aheme ateji ne shema sekuranji ne akana hanjo ne Samuel otom ma omotu kwenta obono shashi na rachi kenyu mtupu wa mapokotala we ka ro ma toka komga shana hayo bakankan shamlo tinde gumotu ta unanjira kwa haye manave yo kana ha ve ido ve kuleji na haye ha sentio mem aliama gumotu hikene ngweya kwehe unanga na hanje gumotu kenjumela abana sheda masima kwa oro kwamba mlumu sha meto mamshito unyaki yaki nyoka gumotu kwenta obono kenyu medubu hwa ma pokota tan dubu hwa ma kinukota balaye welu o hemono fishe nanga shakwa tom otindi kan kwenta obono chi fidel singim akan ha jone mku ujina ka kwa sayo pishisha chi gumotu kwenta obono ma she yuang wan hanje blamba luken kwenta upuma tau na njira chi lwe jiji una ke ba tom unenge sha ko tom wetindi unenge na hanje kape uja ma uzwa sho buhe jira bagane ba ulam shamze mena kan hanje do bisije shae gumoti tau na njira ke ba tom wetindi la ba tse again unenge na hae unataywange hena to blamba ka tsumve ma blamba aka wange vera kwa unenge na hanje kan ku ka chi ya ywange chi hena to ta u benwe ma ta u Nigeria bayo na hayo ba higen hange shamku ji ne yo kumotu kwenta u benwe blamba etove maneve shawe to sha mshito mamye unyale ki ken kwenta u benwe kenyu mdubu hwa mapokota za dubu hwa makinu kota sheno gomna kenju makera samo tom hama kumotu kwenta u benwe ve namba mlumu lakba ve luza hama a tomve temble ba Mauken Blamalukan Kumatila Tom Uja Ba Wesi te Jira Bishije Shekan Ha Wuna Beza Haman Wellington Tena Hayo Ntunum Manabato Manisha Ko Atindi Chi Besue Komoti Ukomoti Penta Open Shaman Hasent you Mamalia Atua Manavesho Nangisha Kom Temen Samya Manaka Gene Ken Jumakera Zanza A Kangam Dubuha Makunuko Tara Ba Shisi dua biave maika na hanje unshun welu hemen uyochi tesinton tole he university gumotu kwenta open wachi he makudi o to Stephen Hwande attacking maira jo benwachi kwamtunu mananganisha kwa tom tole managbato mananganisha kwa tom tole manakwayochi kwenta open na hanje veswe gumotu kwenta open sha hemen ha sentio mem alia sha ya luwe washima mama dido kan kya ya ve agba to mo gane kan taw na jama cha kan won kwa chi na haje tom tole man pa yo kan taw benwe be to am te hemen temple yo ikawazi na haje ka shae akbe mkoho lulu wae sha chi kumaje yang ha na hi to monyima to mota kan la hadu siluke na show tesen ma vada ba wash mama dito shi tesen me to mo gumo tu kan taw benwe sha hemen ha sent yo mem alia ma hemen o Yochi itesinton tore university gumotu kwenta obano hema kudichi shahame na Stephen Hwande kana to nyonjimene hena to chwa bino matau na njira chi lakwayo na haya obyawezika na hanje shana haya aruhin kwana shenge tumonyi na haya ka luhanghang aru wele henji ne ya ko tave yorosuma balamba ya luwe awashima ma yo pe bishi shaw shi zan yo chine ba bi hide ma ve tom to na temple ba yo na ha ye ka je itwa blamba ve lu na sma kwa on pa he temple je shana ha yo kwa ne ka mom kana ka nenge na ha ye ko tu penta o banwe a hide me tom u hen university na temple shi idwe kwa on hen ji ne o he men yo chi shune Stephen Hwande ka je wona itwa beno nenge kya sha washima gumotu kwenta bun sha hamno ha sentio mem alia elu ke wan sha tutu benwa ya atake hige manaka na hanjune hide mblamba ya devetom kanyo me tubu hwa ma poka mo kanju makel lakpa hide ma nawe yan uta hamna tomve shi wawe cha tagida kimeve je batomo ba kabala walo moyo o hemen utau danjira chi o vesh sen kashim shedima ikaafisa na hanje kaun na luhamen tunum makumotu tau na njira tuwa higen na hashe yang tumota sha wel mkoho utaki na Afrika chi veren sha unenge na hanje iso mlu ma avene ta una njira chi ve ken mkoho ma metomu ipinga ivesen mali kiriki chi ken ta u Afrika la bae sha kwa orun adu sha zwa un shunu walu o wasen o hemen utau na njira chi o vesen bola me tinibu tom kan ba to musamble bawsha humbe khen afishen muwe o hamen o ta unanjira chi layo Stalin kocha aka na haje na ku ningin haje awashima mameto mamshito mugumotu ta unanjira chi higene ano zwanve meto manaka ichai kine Afrika chi maneve cho ningin haye awashima utia kan Africa ma chai kan e lukan zo utia cha won wo sha ba tom onan sha kwa ipinga ivese ma kirikila akulevo bae na hayo eka na hanje kwa na kama mkana ka ninge na hanje ai hange ma kan hama yo itachi e ninge a washima umoto taw dan jira cha hamno pola me tinebu kan ve ipinga ivese ma e kiriki mana ka gan a do a ba mteme ha cha chu ta una jira kan tia e Africa la yo ito antika sha biya bana bas silu kwa kyama ku sa baba sa kan tashano peno television makudi boye kwa mu hana bene hanshie na shovane babne hanshie na bo yalo senadito
Welcome.
Idem align your bache in your biokagela mugiko mebe kopene television. Amioina okibiokanyagela ichea ihekunkyo Margaret Aba idem alakuchu alajalotoka okaflei anokega ponema anokiopoka hiniko oche okewodrei nyabike ku chief medical director kinechi kigwepa la Benue State Lugeri Makodi Dr. Stephen Wande Kilela ke ohigugelu ejenja che kubenue kwako ke yukloto ha memlo adano igbo mina ku Benue State Reverend Father Hyacinth alia ki government kolunu koke lukloyos government kolunu koke chukute koke lukloyos yalu inechi kigwepa koke kupiu inechi ka jewo ha enya bekee yiku international standard Adano idokito oke ohigunya lechetali paladi eko oke baje memla chotopa koka eko wake otutu kojile ikechepa enya okege ya lo inechi kigwepa Lugeri Makodi anoke opoka ini kojile ya kege ya lo echepa echeneli paladi gatu echeloli paladi laju Benue State Lugeri Makodi anoke opoka hini kojile ya ke wojila ya flay ojila flay enya okege ya lo state kolano lo ayakinechi ala no ke okela ka hini ku okele losi uklo losi enya lada no igbomina ku Benue State ke oya mifiu oke buklo ya lo inechi kigwepa la Benue State Lugeri Makodi Oka ompa anokiga ponema anoki opoka iniku adano ochenokewi gbomina ku Benue State oke wadano Reverend Father Hyacinth alia oke la chefu enyo okege baje okege bokwela kwe kije enyo oke owaju state memlije enya wake mo la ju state umu isaiku 2015 gatu isaiku 2023 anoki opoka iniku ochochi lecheta Lipaladi ipuno kepo kechiche Lugeri Makodi eko wake okela anoke opoka ini eko wake lo other ground jelo ochenoke wigbomina ku Benue State kola no tete Samuel Otom lo yake ho kechi lo kono beke May 29th 2024 walu odajilo kahini ku owa enyalada no ki adano igbomina ku Benue State Reverend Father Hyacinth Aliakefu kwako ke baje wako ke bela pokwela kijia anoki opoka ini ku ipunu kine ke lo oda oma jilada no oteno ke igbomina tete ku Benue State ke Samuel Otom kwa wa ma ku ke chichi wako ke pokwela anoki opoka ini ku ipunu okepo ke chichi ke kela anoki opoka ini ku ocheno ke keponya oke o justice tesi ya asua oke okela kahin okelela kahini ku ine kipunu kepoa enya lu wakeju oda lu adano ocheno ke igbomina ku Benue State tete Samuel Otom oke okela kahini ku wakejilo aman oda oma wakejilo a okega gbojin okega fiu echalapan anoke opoka ini ku ongleyempe kega anoke opoka hini ku wakelela kagelu owa kwakuke bokwela egenyalije enya ije mlawu aju state memory ije enya wake mola aju state anoke opoka ini ku owa ke otutu ka akege baje wakege bokwela wake ohigugelu ejenja che ku Benue wake okela lu aka hini ku wakuke yufi ochedoduma oke jodadoduma enya wakege enya jodadoduma okege tuala bokwe ikije enya wakega bokwela kwakuke weche kwakuke ga kela kwakuke yufi oka amome anoke ga pubo kano ke mamu onema anoke puka hini ku ochenoke pokonuchu otreka aje okola no oke wo kasimi shatima oke okela adano shino pokonuchu treka aje okola no oke okela lechelo lipa anoke puka hini ku oke otutu kojile nesi oke walu echelo lipa ladi eku oke ge baje memla chenoke biochi ochigada nyabeke ku our stakeholders wakege baje wakege yojle egenyalo aje okola no kege weche kege yuklo memlu owa ka jewo ka Africa egenya wakege tohi kege yuklo egenya wakege tohi ko jegobu memlu ongle koke wa aju ewo kola no lipopo tataje ochenya beke ku senior special assistant adano lu ayakoko ka ego yuklo koche no ke poko no tre kadano okiwadano Stanley Nwancha okela kahini ku owa ke otutu kwa koke yuklo memli comment nesi egenya wakege yaka jewo kola no koke wela jewo ha oke tohito ha enya ojego bu memlo ngwe kege wa jewo kola no Idomolada ala inyo jalotoka amyoina okibokanyagila iche ya Yekugio Margaret Aba Idomolada ala inyo jalotoka
Welcome to the exciting world of Benuetv Television, where we